The United States is officially in an election year and it's shaping up to be a wild one. The leading Republican candidate, Donald Trump, is facing over 90 criminal indictments, while President Joe Biden is the second oldest candidate to run for the White House in US history. Sky News Washington correspondent Anneliese Nielsen takes a look at what we can expect in the year ahead.
A new year begins, and in the United States, it means we're at the start of an election year, unlike any we've ever seen before.
We've never seen the voters this displeased with the candidates they think they're going to be receiving.
A familiar face is already dominating every aspect of the upcoming race.
They're totally coordinated this in Washington because I'm the leading candidate, I'm leading Biden.
Donald Trump is primed for a fight, not just at the ballot box, but in the courts too.
Donald Trump realizes the walls are closing in.
He has two cases heading to the Supreme Court. The highest court in the land has been asked to decide not only whether he can rely on presidential immunity against charges of inciting an insurrection, but also whether he should be struck off the ballot in 2024.
We'll let the court make that decision. But he certainly supported an insurrection. There's no question about it. None, zero. And he seems to be doubling down on about everything.
Trump's campaign will be dictated by his court dates. He will be fighting indictments in New York, Georgia, Florida, and Washington, D.C. 91 indictments in total.
When I'm back in the White House on day one, we are returning to a foreign policy that puts America's interests first. Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. He's a threat.
While Joe Biden could be facing impeachment in Congress. That's if Republicans can show his son Hunter was selling access to his dad. In Congress, it's the Republicans' #1 goal.
Democrats have introduced impeachment into our politics by trying to impeach the former president, President Trump, 2 different times.
Over the Republican primaries, Donald Trump has deployed increasingly provocative rhetoric against immigrants.
They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America.
While voters polled time and time again say Joe Biden is too old for a second term. At 81, Joe Biden is the oldest president to ever hold office. He's the second oldest presidential candidate in history, only behind Minnesota Governor Harold Stassen, who was 85 when he launched his 9th unsuccessful campaign for president. If he wins, Joe Biden will be the oldest to ever assume office at 82 and will top out the record for oldest president when he leaves office at 86. Kamala Harris, meanwhile, has announced she'll run a nationwide tour focused on abortion access. She's still considered the heir presumptive for the Democrats if Joe Biden drops out, and she says she's ready.
If necessary, but Joe Biden is going to be fine.
And it could just be the year the United States of America elects its first female president. Former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley is building momentum in her campaign, but is still an outside chance.
To sort of use a Star Wars analogy, she's got to do like the trench run on the Death Star. Like everything has to go right.
There's virtually no historical precedents that tells us how Donald Trump's multiple legal cases will impact his re-election bid, making this year's presidential election all the more extraordinary in just about every way imaginable.
The people are looking for some new answer, not a right wing or a left wing, but someone that can bring the nation together.
He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, no, other than day one.
In every way, this will be an election for the history books. Anneliese Nielsen, Sky News, Washington, D.C.